Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session on Agile Testing and Automation. This is the first in a series of trainings that Eric Godwin will be giving to us. So, just something short about Eric. Eric has been in testing QA and Agile Scrum well since 2008 and has been contracting since 2014. He's also an automation test analyst and has been supporting a lot of startups in projects and testing and the application of the Agile framework. He's currently putting this training together for us to give the team, the business analyst community, an understanding of Agile testing and automation. I think with his worth of experience, we are in very safe hands, and I'm sure after the series of sessions would be able to apply Agile testing and automation. So with this introduction, I will then hand over to Eric to take us through Agile testing and automation. Over to you, Eric. Thank you.
Right. So I'll go straight to the point. As I said, I do apologize. I'm not sure what happened there. Agile testing. This first one is mainly to come and test the waters and introduce us to testing, and then future sessions we can go delve deeper. Because of time, forgive me if I move faster than planned. Okay. Introduction to testing. We most of us are familiar with the word testing. We know QA. We know that requirements come. It gets passed on to the developers. They do their coding, and then testers also do whatever they do. But the question today, I guess, will be, what is testing? What is testing all about? Among all the other definitions I've got here, that testing is the process centered around the aim of finding defects in a system earlier on in the life cycle before delivery to the customer. So it's centered around, you would see that you'll notice that I've underlined process. It is a process as opposed to an activity. Okay, so it is a process centered around the aim of finding defects in a system earlier on in the life cycle before delivery to the customer. Right. What do you mean, Eric? What do you mean by all this long definition? To bring it into perspective, a requirement document comes in. Let's just say a requirement document comes into the BA. An error. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can.
Oh, yeah. Good. An error in the requirement can lead to a requirement defect, okay, which can then result in programming errors. So a requirement document comes to the BA in development. This gets passed on to the developer. The developer does whatever they want to do. Remember, the requirement document may have, the requirement document may have a, what do you call it? The requirement document may have a, I'm trying to find something, I can't find it. A requirement document may have a, what do you call it? An error, a bug, or anything like that in it. Okay, so if it comes in, it could get passed on. Forgive me, I'm trying to get rid of. Yeah, it could come in with a bug, an error, or a mistake in it. This then goes on to the developer. Developer also codes with that error in it. And then that gets passed on to the test analyst. So throughout, you find that there could be an error in there, right? For instance, I've got something on the screen now, if you can see it, a sample error. What we're going to do is what we're going to do is I want us to have a look at whatever's coming next. And if you can quickly write in the chat, in the chat, anyone who spots an error, just quickly write whatever you see. Let's just play with this quickly. If anyone spots an error in what you're seeing on the screen, just write it quickly on the screen. Let me see. Right, somebody's put, yep. I've seen OM's put some in there. A few people have spotted in the first one. Do you really want to see? So there you go. Exactly what I'm looking for. So clearly you can see a developer's done this because that is what they've been given to do, right? So from a testing perspective, there is an error here. And like I said, this thing keeps coming up. You can see there's a misspelled word cancel. It is the job of the tester to spot this and report it, right? We may report it and be told it is there on purpose, in which case we can't call it a bug, right? And then the next one, you can see grammatically incorrect message. Okay, so clearly you can see the next one as well, a grammatically incorrect message on this next pop-up. I've got another one coming. See if anyone can spot what the error is. I'm going somewhere with this. Got this next one here. Let's see if anyone can spot. Again, I'll go to my chat. See if anyone. Okay, so if you spot any error, please feel free to do us a favor and just type it in there. Let's go crazy and just put whatever you think you see. If you think there's something wrong, there's an error here. Okay, somebody's put.
I think
right.
Do you
really want to save? Yes, they're not. Blah blah blah. Okay, right. I'm sure people have different, all kinds. But then the question is, what is the requirements? That is the first thing that we'll be asking. What is the requirement? But even easier, this is actually one of the main problems here is that the window allows the user to create a new project. However, there's no option for the user to exit. Okay, there's no option here. This is a kind of error. If you look, you can see the create button there, but how can the user cancel? That is one of the errors that we found with this, right? So testing basically helps us to answer the million-dollar question: does the product behave as specified by the client? The main question is, what is the requirement, right? What is the client asked for? Do they want an application with no cancel button? What exactly do they want? So we will call it a defect or a bug or a fault depending on what the requirement or the client is asked for. If the client didn't ask for it, then as far as testing is concerned, it is not a defect or it's not a bug. So I've got Peppa Pig here who always asks the question, but why do we test? Okay, why do we test? One of the first things anyone who knows testing will know is that testers find defects. Testers find defects. That is one primary thing that any tester will be looking for, defects or faults. The second one here is that we test to help reduce the risk of failure occurring in production. That is a prime thing. We want to make sure when the product goes into live, there is no failure, and to ensure operational reliability. So the product has to be reliable to an extent. The third point is that testing ensures that we're building what the customers requested for. Did the customer want a cancel button? Do they want, what kind of blue do they want? So the testing or tester comes in to make sure that whatever was in the requirement is exactly what the team has built. I'm going to speed up here, not much to go. Software failures can happen, can result in a few things. One, loss of business reputation. So it is important to have testing involved so that we avoid failures or loss of business reputation. We also want to avoid loss of money. We also want to avoid loss of time. We don't want to waste anybody's time. If a client buys a mobile phone and it doesn't do exactly what they expected or what it says on the tin, on the can, if you buy anything and it doesn't do what it says on the can, you've wasted the customer's time. Injury as well. We want to avoid injury. And then the last one is death. You know about the Boeing situation. Lives were lost there. That is critical. Even if your phone lets you down or your car lets you down, it can cause issues there, death there. So testing comes in to ensure that we avoid these sort of situations, right? Typical ways that testing can contribute. I'm looking at time here. Pardon me. Typical ways that testing can contribute to success. I've got a few points here. In requirement gathering, testers' involvement in requirement gathering and reviews could result in identification and removal of requirement defects. So if you involve the tester early, they help at that stage to remove some of these defects. Involving a tester in system design, that is, I think, typically BAs. If you involve testing at the right time, it will increase understanding of the design. I'm talking in terms of the development team. It will increase understanding of the design and how. It will also increase understanding of how to test it as well. Involving testers or testers working with developers. Working with developers closely, again, it helps the tester, it increases their understanding of the code. If the tester understands the code, it helps them to test better. And it also reduces the risk of defects within the code. And verification and validation. Engaging testers to verify and validate will detect failures that will otherwise would have been missed. And this will also support the process of removing defects that caused the failure and increases the potential of the software. Right. Pepper, as you know, always asking, but why? Why do faults occur? Programming errors. I was going to give this to us as an exercise, but time won't allow us. But you can imagine all sorts that can happen. Programming errors. If developers program mistakenly, there will be faults. Ambiguous and unclear requirements. I'm sure your BAs, you think us putting this here, we don't like you, but that is the truth, right? We're working as a team of developers. So when we get ambiguous and unclear requirements, it causes faults, it results in faults in the software. Ambiguous and unclear specifications. There you go, there's another one. We want very clear specs. Unrealistic delivery schedules. Again, if we went in an agile setting, I'll be pointing at the PMs, but in an agile world, it is the team's effort. So unrealistic delivery schedules. You can't just change your mind and decide that we want the stuff delivered. Or you can't just tell the developer. You can't just tell the development team when you want stuff to be delivered. It has to be realistic. Constantly changing goalposts. If requirements keep changing or specs keeps changing, this can affect cause faults to occur in the software. Poor communication. If the team does not understand clearly, or the testing team does not understand clearly what they need, or requirements are not well communicated, it can result in faults. Lack of information. Yet sometimes the team does not have what they need to develop what exactly is required. So lack of information. Poor software and architecture design. I won't go too deep into that, but I think it speaks for itself. Inadequate testing. See how I've cleverly brought testers testers to the bottom. Inadequate testing. I didn't say bad testing, inadequate. If we don't get the chance to properly do our work, there will be faults. Poor test coverage, yes. If testers don't cover the right permutations, use the right data, etc., just poor, bad work can cause faults. And then insufficient testing time. Testers need enough time to do their work. I think the last one, lack of resources. Lack of resources can cause faults in software development. So I will leave it here. We've got a very short time for questioning, and I hope I didn't rush through this, but I didn't have a choice. So thank you, and I will pass on to Kwame. I think I might as well mention the next thing that we'll be doing, right? Next up,
Okay.
when I come back, how much testing. We'll be talking about how much testing is enough. We'll also be talking about test basis. What do testers need to get their work, or what does testing need to ensure that there are no faults or there's minimal faults in the system? And then we'll also be going into an introduction to fundamental test activities. So yeah, thank you so much for the time, and I'll make way for question and answers.
Okay, thank you very much, Eric, for the introduction. So now you could unmute yourself, and let's seek further clarification from Eric. Yeah. Eric, I'd like to find out: do testers do coding? Are they allowed to?
Yes, testers do coding. So it depends on. So I'm starting with traditional testing. My introduction and most of the stuff that I'll start with will be traditional testing, and then we'll move on to agile testing. But yes, to answer your question, testers do coding. Depending on what the team is, if it's a cross-functional team, especially in an agile world, I've been in places where I've done developers' work because they could trust me to do that sort of stuff. So testers do coding, and of course there's automation, test automation. So yeah, they do.
Okay.
Sorry, can I just ask a question, please?
Please do.
Yes, please.
Yeah. In terms of the agile testing aspect, how is it different to the traditional way or approach? Like when you say, is there anything exceptionally special in terms of technicality regarding agile testing? Or is it pretty much the same thing? It's just the process and the way in which it's executed?
Yeah, it is more process. It is more process that is different, but the testing itself is the same. It's more process and how, process. But we will come. We will be talking about agile. This whole thing is meant to be an agile testing presentation, but I came to. It's important that we lay some foundations before we do that.
Okay.
So, but we will delve deeper into and spend a lot more time in agile testing and the processes and how it should be done.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
In future sessions.
I think there's a question from Abby. She's asking: manual testers have no interaction with coding, right?
So if I'm right, if the question is, do manual testers get involved?
Yeah.
Well, the minute you cross into coding, you're not a manual tester, because it depends on how you define manual tester. If you call yourself a manual tester, then you only do manual work. The minute you go into coding, you're mostly starting automation. You're stepping into automation world. So you can decide to. I started with manual testing. Most people start with manual testing and then start coding bits and bobs. So yeah. So you can cross over. That is where I think generally that's where you start from manual and then start coding. Thanks, Abby.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions, please? Okay.
It will be, yes, OM. It will be.
Eric, will there? Okay.
It will
Okay.
be, yeah.
It will be. Okay. So I
Come on,
think
guys.
it's time. And
you make me uncomfortable not asking questions.
what's up?
Either I didn't make a lot of sense.
It means you delivered well.
Exactly. I really enjoyed it, and thanks so.
And it was easy to follow and to understand.
It was very easy to follow and understand. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Because you're making me sweat here.
No, some of us.
I mean,
the feedback is necessary, right? We need quick feedback.
Yeah. So well, I mean,
yeah, this is really good.
The intention was just to start with something and then
and
then we can go deeper as we go along.
I guess when we go deeper, then the questions might start to come out because I have a few questions.
For sure.
But
Don't make me cancel the next 3 appointments.
No, don't do that.
It's too late. You're hooked already.
Too late. Yeah. But thanks a lot for the time. And,
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So thanks to everyone. Thanks to Eric for a great session. Okay, I think there's a question from SMD. Do I need to have an IT background before becoming a tester?
Absolutely not. Absolutely. I did business and HR. Came out of uni, and a friend just asked me, "Would you like to?" Very good. I think God sent friend asked me, "Would you like to change your career to something?" I said, "Yeah, why not? Let's talk about. Tell me about whatever you got on the table." And he introduced me to testing one weekend, and that's it. And I just run with it. So you don't have to have it at all. You don't have to have it at all. I mean, if you can be curious enough, pay attention to details, and I think these two are good enough. Curiosity means that you will look for stuff and you pay attention to details. I think at least these two are enough. Yeah.
So where is the best starting point to be a tester?
You can start from anywhere, from where you are right now. Seriously. I just took a few courses, did some reading. I say this to people all the time. I didn't have the testing certificate when I started. I wouldn't advise or encourage that, but I didn't have it when I had my first, when I got my first job. And my first job at the time paid a competitive rate because of the way the interview went, So I think, if you know your stuff, I asked one question I remember very well, that would you rather have someone who has the certificate and doesn't know what they're doing, or will you judge me by the interview? And they decided to judge me by the interview, and I got the job.
So what, any example of courses?
Yeah.
That one would take.
I think there are a few courses. I know a few people
recommended.
I know a few people who do the course as well. So there are a few course providers out there. If you need one, you can give me a shout and I'll direct you to a few. And then you can decide which one you want. Yeah.
Okay. So the link to the WhatsApp page has been provided in the chat. So if you are not on the WhatsApp page, you could join through the link that has been shared by Juliet. OM is a course provider for Agile testing and automation.
Awesome. Okay. No, I think he said Eric himself.
Oh, Eric himself. Sorry. Okay.
No, I'm happy to mentor people and help people, support people, but I'm not yet a cost
Okay.
provider.
No, Eric, listen, man. No, Eric, you can't bring yourself down. No. No. After this introduction, you
Okay.
cannot bring yourself down, man. You cannot, man. No.
I didn't say I'm not. I just said.
He's too busy.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's
So I guess Eric will put something together for us. Then he would certify us. Yeah. Okay.
Fantastic, man.
Okay. Okay. So thank you, everyone. Tomorrow we'll have a design thinking session, and Friday we have our session on the database. So see you same time next week when we continue with our session on agile testing and automation with Eric. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
and
guys.
have a nice day.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks very much. Eric. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time.